Hello, everyone. My name is Chrissy Smith, and this is Nine Lives Energy, where together we energize your body from the inside out. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm having a lot of technical difficulties, as a lot of people are whenever Mercury goes into retrograde. So not only is this transit being affected in our lives, we also have a new moon, which is opposing one of the malefic planets, Pluto. So we're going to get into this and see how it all plays out to you, because it's not all, oh my God, something malefic. Some of these transformational changes could be moving you onto a higher timeline, or it could be aligning you to where you need to be in order to be your most authentic expression of yourself, living from your heart, and not from our ego, as the thumbnail indicated. Now, like I said, Mercury has been having fun with me, and so somehow I inadvertently made this as an MP4 instead of making it as a slide deck. I don't know how that happened, because all I did was just copy the last thing that I did and change it. But nonetheless, here we are. And just wanted to kind of give some announcements here. I'm going to be at the Founders Day celebration event at Enchanted Kitchen down in Concord. I'm going to be there on August 2nd with Nomadic Oracle, so make sure that you check us out. I will be doing an astrological workshop talking about the eclipses, which are transiting over the areas of your chart and the collective on the health axis. And that is Pisces and Virgo. So not just Pisces and Virgos are going to be highlighted, but everybody when it is talking about our health. So you might want to check that out if you are interested. Also, I am teaching at Soul Good Yoga now, so make sure that you check me out there. I love being there and teaching in a more intimate setting and doing something that's a little bit less fiery in my ego. For 30 years, I taught fitness and hardcore boot camps and circuits and dance, and my body is having some changes too, and I'm not able to do all those things anymore. Not that I can't, but it just doesn't feel good anymore, and so I'm wanting to do something new. So stepping into a different role, still moving my body, but just moving a little bit slower in my Taurus energy. I have also started back up my Astro Message Mondays. I started this about 2 years ago, and just wasn't a right time. So now is the right time for me to be doing that. So make sure that you check out that every Monday on my YouTube channel and Instagrams and TikTok. I will be posting those on Mondays for the astrological weather for the week. And then welcoming back my friend Deborah Robinson. She is a Cancer, and right now Jupiter is in Cancer. And it loves to be in Cancer. It is exalted in Cancer. And so a lot of us are going to be experiencing a lot of blessings and truth and home expansions. And I'm going to be doing this astrological transit series with her to talk about it. I experienced this in my Jupiter return last year in Gemini. Gemini, Jupiter does not like to be in Gemini. And so even though I had a lot of magical blessings come to me that Jupiter gave, it still was not the most comfortable year for me, as some of these things happened. But speaking of eclipses eclipse things out of our lives so new things can come in. And Ozzy Osbourne passed away yesterday, and I stayed up late last night listening to some of his music, and I'm like, man, he really had a long history of making music, starting with Black Sabbath, and then did his own individual projects. But what I love the most about him is that he started Ozfest, and it gave attention to some of these newer bands coming in and this new generation of music, and he wanted to be able to have exposure with that. And so that's you could just tell that he truly loved what he did. And I love what I do in the fitness industry and also as an astrologer. And you can tell when someone is really passionate about what they're doing, or what if they're in alignment with their chart. And Ozzy Osbourne definitely was in alignment with his chart, because if you look up there at the top, this is what is known as your MC. Unfortunately, you can't see my little mouse moving around, but the top of your chart is your MC, who people see you as, your career, right? And he has that in Virgo. And so the South Node is in Virgo, and it is closing out chapters. And so with this, it is crossing over his career. So it is closing out this chapter of his career due to his health, because Virgo is holistic health and Pisces on the opposite end, which you cannot see right now because of what's going on with the ticker going down there at the bottom. Let me see if I can take that down. Yay, now you can see it. So down here at the bottom, you see it has like a little moon with a cross in it. That's Black Moon Lilith. All right. It's the darkest expression of the moon. And that is where Pisces is. So his north node is going over there, taking him out of this physical reality and into back to the darkness, because he called himself the Prince of Darkness. And I found that funny because if you look up at the top of a chart, you can see Leo. All right. Leo is entertainment, rock and roll, being seen publicly. And he had Pluto there, and Pluto is death. And so he considered himself the Prince of Darkness. And so I find that fitting that that is how he was known in entertainment. He also, if you look down here at the bottom of the chart where he has Capricorn, he has, it looks like a number 4 that's red, and then a circle with a arrow in it. That's Mars. That is our leadership, our warriorship, our masculine energy. And he had that conjunct Jupiter, which is expanding his masculine energy and expanding the second house. The second house is our resources and how we identify in this world. And I find it funny that if you look over here on this part of the chart on the far right, where we see Taurus, Taurus is the kingdom on earth. And Capricorn is the kingdom in heaven based upon where it is on the astrological wheel. So he had his kingdom on earth. He had his kingdom on heaven on earth because he had Capricorn in the second house, which is our values governed by Taurus. And he had the moon there living from his emotions. You could hear his emotions in his song. So I just find it funny that the astrology never lies. Jupiter expanded his resources. People knew him publicly throughout the whole world. And anyway, I hope that if you are an OZZY fan that you got something out of this. And if not, it is on to you, my magical people. So the collective new moon, this is the astrological chart for Thursday, July 2024. And a lot of people ask me, what do these blue lines mean? What do these red lines mean? The red line that's kind of cutting across the chart there, that is a square between Venus, which is the planet of love and our feminine energy, and also Mars, which is our masculine energy and our warriorship. So there could be situations where relationships are ending, right? Because that red line is a square causing some tension points between feminine and masculine energies. So we could see people having an ending of relationships or an ending of what was. Maybe you identified as this one thing with your ego self, Mars, our masculine. But now we are going more into what our heart wants, Venus. And Leo is our heart. That is the 5th house. And it controls our childlike expression, entertainment, living from our heart. And so this opposition with the new moon and being able to live with our heart source energy instead of living from the ego is being met with an opposition with Pluto. So Pluto is that red line. Like if you go across the chart like this, the bottom of the right-hand side, you will see the moon shape in the sun. So when the sun and the moon are together, that's a new moon. And then when the moon is in the opposite side of the wheel opposing the sun, that is a full moon. So if you follow that red line across, that is Pluto. And Pluto is about death and rebirth and transformation. And sometimes when we have those transformational experiences, they are not fun to go through. And so there could be a lot of endings happening right now in the collective, truths being revealed so that we know how to make the right decision going forward. We're not illusioned anymore about, well, you know what, I need this job in order to have this paycheck. If you're only using a job for a paycheck, you're probably going to have some tension points come up, or you're possibly going to have some shifts to where maybe you're going to have some opportunities to do the things that you love and to be in your gifts and talents in order to not only make yourself happy and live like Ozzy Osbourne, having your heaven on earth, But heaven on earth doesn't mean being famous and having lots of money. Your heaven on earth can be waking up every day with your magical person, or waking up every day and just being happy that you actually get to live a life that you feel is abundant because you're living from your heart. Right? I know what it's like to live from my heart. I'm going on to my second career of living from my heart. So some of these transits are going to be not fun to go through, but it's stepping you in more to being who you came here to be. Now, if you look at the blue line that is going kind of down in an angle like this, that is what we call a trine. So this new moon, which is trining the sun and the moon, is the conjunction between Saturn, which looks like the number 5, and Neptune, which kind of looks like a pitchfork. Now, Neptune and Saturn just got into Aries. They are slow moving planets. Saturn spends about 3 years in each zodiac sign. And when we get to the ages of about 30, that's when Saturn comes and knocks on our door and says, if you haven't been doing the right thing, we're going to get a swift kick in the pants so we can. Neptune also is a malefic planet, and it's even further out in our solar system, and it spends about 14 years in a zodiac sign. So it just finished up where it most likes to be in its home sign of Neptune. So over the last 14 years, we've seen a lot of things behind the scenes or screens be themes. So for example, things being hidden that are coming to light. A lot of people woke up in 2012 to what's going on. A lot more people woke up in 2020 to the things that were going on. And I believe that Neptune had something to do with that. Being behind the scenes, doing behind the scenes work, being creative. This is a great way to channel some of this energy. If you are depressed during this time, or if you feel like between the Pluto and Leo opposition right now, not the Pluto, but the Aquarius and Leo opposition that's going to be happening for the next 20 years, those two signs are going to be highlighted. It's important for us to be living in our gifts, living from our heart, doing things that are creative for us. We may not be making money, doing whatever is creative for us, but maybe we can work outside in our yard and make our yard more beautiful and be creative in that way. Or maybe we can draw something at home or write something. Being creative in your gifts or playing with children is a great way to kind of channel some of this energy. And that is for the collective, because you are being blessed with that trine to kind of look at some of your routines, your day-to-day, what needs to be cleaned up so we can make room for the things that you're wanting to make room for. If you are only working that job and you're saying, well, I gotta have this money, and now I gotta work a part-time job that I don't like to have that money, and then I don't have any time for me for self-care. That's Leo, self-care. And also being, I don't know, Mercury's in retrograde. I just lost my train of thought there. But all of our outer planets, which is Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune, are all in very early degrees of a sign. So that's 0 to about 5. And now our outer planets are in retrograde except for Uranus. So when everything is in retrograde in the outer part of the planet, the outer planets, that's controlling the collective. So when we have retrogrades, Mercury is in retrograde as well. These are all the revisit, relook at something, right? If you are wanting to buy a house, now is not a time. Relooking at some of our finances, relooking at maybe a house, maybe there was an issue with it. Maybe having some of those conversations that you needed to have would be a good time, but make sure that you're in a good place, that it's not coming from something that's emotionally charged. Because sometimes when we're emotionally charged, we can say things we don't mean. And there's been a lot of heaviness in the collective, meaning that a lot of these outer planets have been in earth signs and water signs, which are a little bit more dense. So now we're in new territory, folks. The fire signs, the air signs, things can be very electric. Things can be moving very quickly. And this is where I was going to say, thank you. I just remembered. Being outside is a good way to kind of channel this energy, especially if you've been around the computer a lot. I've been around the computer a lot last night, making some of these, you know, things that we can look at for our presentation today, and then also looking at all those OZZY videos and making content. So my eyes get a little tired, and it's good for me to go outside and sun gaze. And you want to sun gaze in the morning as the sun's coming up, or in the evening as it's going down to get those orange hues, or even gazing at a candle, just not gazing at things that are in that blue light. So with that being said, let's go on to see how this is going to be affecting you the most. Sorry for the delays, my apologies. All right, Aries, we are going to be going with you first. And let me see if this is, you can still see that. This new moon is going to be happening in your 5th house. So this is the house of creativity, the house that Leo rules. And being in your creativity is the best way to be channeling some of this. Who do you want to be next? Is there something that might be closing out of your life that you know you identify with? For me, you know, I am stepping into a new role. For 30 years, I did the fitness thing, right? And every 30 years, Saturn makes a revolution around your chart. So maybe I needed to be doing something at 30 years old, but I'm revisiting this 17 years later. 17 is a Leo degree. And so there could be some friendships maybe that are closing out that don't align anymore with you, Aries. Or maybe there is this job that you have is closing out because you are supposed to be doing service to humanity in a different way. We're not supposed to be doing that other thing. We're supposed to be using our gifts and talents and being in our creativity in a different way, and being a leader, being that Aries actionary, that visionary, that warrior, that innovator. The person who just, they're the pioneer, right? They're going to come out trailblazing, right? But sometimes they have so much energy that they go all in and they don't think about the details, right? I know that's me because I'm an Aries. So a good way to channel this is like, you know what, let me think about this a little bit more. Let me be creative at home. Let me do some behind the scenes work. Let me tidy up some of those things that I need to be tidying up so I can step up into my new role. If you got something out of this, Aries, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And send this to anybody that you think might get a benefit to this. And if this is resonating with you, leave me a comment how it is. And make sure that you're also listening to your rising sign and not just your sun sign, because this could help you have even more insights into this. And to know that information, you would need to know what time you were born. So look it up online to see what your rising sign is, or hit me up and I'll be more than happy to help you navigate some of these astrological patterns and weather and waters. All right, Taurus, how are you doing? You are fixed energy, right? And just like Leo, fixed signs, Taurus and Aquarius and Scorpio and Leo, it's hard for us to change because we want to keep doing what we're doing. But what I will say is this transit, anybody that has a lot of Taurus placements in their chart, you are getting some shifts coming in your career sector. And so there could be some challenges for the next 20 years regarding this. Or if you have been doing the work behind the scenes and maybe during the last, 12 years, 5 years, maybe in 2020, you decided, well, this job doesn't resonate with me. I'm going to do this. Living from your heart in the home is going to be beneficial to you. You could be possibly doing some behind the scenes work, or making changing up of the home and making it just a fun place to be. Or maybe you are expecting some children and now you're trying to plan how that child is going to be living in your home and making arrangements with that. You could also, with this Aries trine, having some subconscious behaviors coming to the surface. Why do you do the things that you do? Is there some belief systems that you have around maybe who you are in the home, maybe around religion or around spirituality, or maybe you have an addiction to the screen and you need to kind of curve that a little bit. And so how can we be more creative with our gifts? Let's get off of the screens. Let's go outside in nature. Let's be in the sun. The sun is the ruler of Leo. So if you want to work with some of these transits, a way to work with this is to work with your opposite sign. Maybe being outside in the water would be good for you, or being outside in the sun, maybe being around a lake and being active in the lake, or walking outside in nature could give you some of the insights that you're looking for. And maybe you could be getting some dreams coming to you at this time that are giving you some of these insights that you need to know. So let me know how this is affecting you most personally. Again, trying to make room for the things that you want the most in your life right now, Taurus. If we keep holding on to the thing that's trying to, go away from us, then we're not going to see those three things that are coming to us, right? So because we're so fixed, all right, on what we want our life to be like, but God has a better plan and wants you to have this thing over here. So if you got something out of this, Taurus, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Send this to somebody that you think could benefit. And also check me out in the description box below if you would like to know how these astrological transits are affecting you most personally. Thanks so much, Taurus. Happy new moon in Leo. All right, Gemini. You are having this new moon in your third house, and you love the third house because that is the one that you rule over with Mercury. So this could be a good time to possibly be having conversations with people in your community or doing creative projects with people in your community. You think very fast and you move very fast, but sometimes we might need to move a little bit slower, okay? Because we have all these ideas, but a way that we can kind of channel some of these ideas is to move a little bit slower. Maybe you want to breathe, all right? Because you are an air sign. Breathing can help you get some of the answers that you need. And if this is also in the third house, that's also our breath, right? If we're wanting to get some of those answers, or if we feel kind of, I don't know what's going on, I want to do this and I want to do this, and I don't know how to respond to this person, a good way to do that would be possibly to get out in nature, to get some of those downloads that you need. Put your feet in the grass and breathe. I think would be a good astrological remedy for you at this time to kind of help you with some of these transits. You are having the Neptune and Saturn retrograde in your 11th house. So that is service to humanity. So, and also working with others and friendships. So you could have some new friendships coming into your life as these old ones are leaving, all right? And these old ones that are leaving, they don't align with you anymore, okay? Because you have changed, hopefully, or need to be working on, okay? I'm not going to tell people what to do, but an astrological remedy would be like, what do you tell yourself? How are you living in your inner child and your thoughts? Are you, because you are the thoughts, you are the mind. That's why you can learn so fast. That's why you can move so fast. But are we making decisions that are valuable to us? Or are we making decisions that were hasty, or making decisions that don't serve us in the long run? Because that dream was put in your heart for a reason. It is not because you need to be doing these other things, okay? It's because you need to be making time for the things that you need to make time for. But we have to get quiet first, or we're never going to hear those messages. And remember, those people that are being cut out of your life, all right, is because somebody new is coming in. So let that shit go, okay? And more magic is on the way, I promise you. And it is going to be expanding your resources and giving you things that are more valuable to you if you do that. Because you've got Jupiter in the second house of resources, and it's expanding that if you learn to let go. Mindset, people, habits, What do you need to let go of? As soon as I say that thing, you know what it is. All right, Gemini, thank you so much. If you got something out of this, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And you can also look down in the description box below in order to get an astrological reading with me. Happy new moon in Gemini. Stay youthful. Have fun. All right, Cancer, how are you doing? I think you are one of our signs that is probably doing well at this moment because you have Jupiter, benefic Jupiter, giving you all kinds of blessings. But sometimes these blessings, they come at a cost, right? Because we have to let something go. And the beginning of this Jupiter transit wasn't fun for you. And maybe you were having some health issues, or maybe some routines were changing in your life that are causing you to have room for whatever is coming in. You are having this new moon in the second house of resources. So what do you love, Cancer? What do you love, and how are you going to make money doing it? Because the ego is dying. The way we used to show up in relationships, the way we used to show up in helping people, the way the world knew us as these nurturers, we can still be those nurturers, but we have to nurture ourselves first. And you have this Pluto opposition in your 8th house. So there could be some hidden monies coming to the surface if you do some of the shadow work. Maybe there might be shadow work around unworthiness. And you know, maybe Pluto is checking in right now, like, hey, in January, we had this similar transit, except for the full moon was in Aquarius, and the new moon, the full moon was in Leo, and the new moon was in Aquarius. So the new moon was bringing in new transformational energies to you, or was lining things up. So think back to where you were at the end of January, beginning of February, or the middle of February. Where were you? What was going on in your life? There's a check-in coming in right now. And so, you know, the universe wants to give you all these blessings. Have you had the rebirth? Is there something that maybe you need to transform, that you are trying to hold on to a little bit more? Remember, stuck water, your water sign does not feel good. Cry it out if you have to. That is a good way for you to work in with these energies, because the 8th house, where Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, which is fixed water. So not being in that big shell, being more vulnerable. And you don't have to be vulnerable to other people, but you know, that could help. But being vulnerable to yourself and nurturing yourself, and you are your own resource. So make sure that we are loving ourselves in that way. Okay. You are also having this transit of Neptune and Saturn in your 10th house of career. So there could be some shifts going back, like, yes, I did want to add this to my business. You know, now's the time to be working on this. And you have these energies until February of next year. So it's not time to be planting seeds and working behind the scenes a little bit, but we're not gung-ho on doing whatever. All right, we're cleaning up some of these things that we need to let go of so that we can bring in those resources into our lives after this transit is over and before Jupiter leaves your sign. Okay, if you got something out of this, make sure that you like this video, Cancer, and send it to another Cancerian if you wish. And if you would like a personal reading with me, my information is in the description box below. Thanks so much, and happy new moon in Cancer. Happy new moon in Leo, Cancer. Yay, Leo, we are at you now. This is your annual new moon in your sign in the summer, and this is affecting your identity. So there could be relationships that are leaving your life, or relationships with a habit, or relationships with a job. There could be people that are closing out, maybe in a job that you no longer identify with, or an identity that you no longer identify with. If you have been working behind the scenes for a long time, maybe 12 years, 10 years, 5 years, maybe just 1 year, and you're like, guess what? I've always wanted to do these things, and I've been behind the scenes, but now I'm actually going to bring it out. Well, before we do that, let's make sure that we have a big bow on it, okay? And not just trying to bring it out right now, because Mercury is in retrograde and Mercury is in your sign. And I would hate for you to, you're a fire sign, you're like Aries, And we move a little fast sometimes, and we get a little premature in our decisions about who we want to be. So let's make sure that we revisit who we really want to be, and not trying to put something else on there that's really not that authentic. Because if you are trying to do something right now, Leo, that is not authentic, meaning that you're trying to be somebody that you're not in order to keep this relationship going, or you're trying to be somebody that you're not in order to keep this job, you know, this is transformational energies, right? Pluto is about death and rebirth and transformation. And you probably have had an experience of a lot of transformation over the last 5 years, if you're anything like me. And because of that, you are being asked to step into something that is more authentic in your expression. So keep working behind the scenes, but keep polishing up that authenticity. People know when you're telling the truth. Telling the truth and being authentic is the highest vibration. It is higher than love, and you rule love, childlike expression. So when was the last time that you actually played in your childhood expression, and you drew and you colored, or you played with children, or you had a little project, or maybe you revisited, you know, those gifts and talents that you had many moons ago, or maybe there's a new gift and talent that is coming in that you've got to make time for. Because if you don't make time for it, it's never going to give you all of this abundance. You got Jupiter coming into your sign next year, Leo. Right now, it is going over the house of spirituality, creativity, our dreams, our sleep. So you could be more tired than usual, and that's not fun for you. So use this time to rest. Use this time to be in your creativity, staying at home, cleaning up of the home, making room for all those things that you want to add in next. But let's polish up some of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes, because you're being summoned to do something else more magical. So live in your creativity. You rule creativity, you and Pisces both. It's a very creative time for you and the Pisces. Very creative. You could be getting some downloads here. You also could be aligning yourself with spiritual teachers, or maybe you are stepping into a role of being a spiritual teacher. So what type of spiritual teacher do you want to be? What type of things do you want to bring forward? If the systems are changing and there are people here put onto this earth who are supposed to help with that changing of the system. If you got something out of this, Leo, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like a more personal reading, please check out the description box below. I would love to give you some more insights on how this astrological transit is going to be affecting you for the next 20 years, because Pluto is in opposition to you, and he's revisiting you to make sure that you are checking in to do your work, right? And every 30 years, you have Saturn transiting over your chart and giving you up levelings into adulthood and who you're supposed to be. And right now you're having a check-in like, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Because if not, it may get even more tough. And I don't want that for you, Leo. We saved the drama for your mama. Bye, Leo. Happy new moon in your sign. Virgo, how are you doing? You are having the south node of the eclipse transiting over your sign for the next year and a half. Well, the next year, because you've already been through a half of it. So you have seen probably a lot of shifts also in your identity, things that were a part of your routines that no longer serve, work habits, maybe putting something into a new routine, maybe a pet came in, all of those things, right? There could be some cutting and severing of relationships or things that you no longer identify with. You have Mars that last week or a few days ago conjunct the South Node. And so there was probably some shifts in letting go of anything to do with masculine type energy, or things that I'm holding on to that I need to let go of. And Virgo likes to be in control. It could also be a resurgence of maybe a new habit for you. And you've said, you know what, I've had enough. I am going to the gym, I'm losing this weight, or whatever it is, or I've had enough, I'm ending this relationship with whatever it is. Okay, so there could be a lot of endings going on for you right now. This new moon is transiting over your 12th house of subconscious behaviors. So it would be a good time for you to go within and to get the messages that you need, or maybe you are getting some type of divine messages maybe coming to you at dream time over the next few days. You also could be having a shift in your habits and making sleep more of a priority, or making the things that you love a priority, and you are learning how to love yourself again and getting rid of some of these subconscious behaviors that maybe we were so fixed in, and we had our hold on our ego, and asking ourselves, like, why do I have that belief system? Why do I believe that I'm always going to be poor? Why do I believe that I'm never going to find anybody? Why am I going to believe, whatever it is? It could be some hidden truths coming to the surface too. So there could be some hidden enemies coming to the surface, or some hidden information coming to the surface. Leo rules entertainment. So if you are following somebody maybe in entertainment, there could be somebody falling down from the ladder of entertainment there, and maybe new leaders stepping into that role. By you being courageous and you going within and you doing the spiritual work, this could definitely help you a lot, because nobody likes to look at our shadow side. I mean, I have things that I'm not perfect, right? I have habits, I have guilty pleasures, things I do that I'm working on. But the fact is that I realize that I know that I'm doing it. Okay. First off is, are we aware? All right. Are we aware that we do this thing? And then the second is acceptance. I am accepting that I am aware that I do this. And then we can take action or inaction. Inaction is an action. So be thinking about what is stepping away from your life at this time. Let's be creative behind the scenes. Do this. You could probably pick up a musical instrument or sing or dance in order to let go of some of these energies that are not fun, because you've got Saturn and Neptune in the 8th house. Even though this is a trine and a positive aspect, if you not being in our creativity and not trying to do the work that we need to do is going to cause you to have some tension. So you are being blessed right now with maybe the ability to be at home alone, so you can do some of the inner work. Okay. Let me know if this resonates with you, Virgo. If it does, let me know in the comments below. And if you would like a more personal reading, please see the description box below. I would love to let you know how this astrological weather is going to be affecting you most personally. Happy new moon in Leo, Virgo. Hello, Libra. How are you doing? You are having this new moon in your 11th house of service to humanity, friendships. So there could be some friendships coming in or some friendships closing out. You could be being creative with somebody else. Or maybe there is a cutting off of somebody that maybe you used to be creative with. I will say that being in your creativity is going to help the most, but the way that you could harness most of this creativity is by being outside in the sun, or listening to sound frequency music, or also just being in nature and hearing the birds and getting maybe some information about how you could be of service better. Because maybe you've been of service by being in your ego. Well, I feel good when I do this job and it pays me a lot of money, but I really like doing this over here, but I'm afraid of what people would think. So this is a good time for you to just be in your creativity and maybe being in a musical instrument or singing or helping other people. That would be good. You've got this astrological transit in Aries with Neptune and Saturn dipping back into Pisces in your routines. So there could be some people that you have, that you are aligning with yourself, that are a part of your routine, that can help you during this time. So maybe this is a love relationship. Maybe this is a work relationship, or maybe this is just a friendship that, you know, they're actionary. They like to get up and do, and maybe they have helped you move through some of these energies over the last 5 years, or just recently, maybe, right? And, or maybe you've, you know, met this person 2 or 3 years ago. So now is a good time for you to be putting that relationship into practice a little bit more, and seeing how you can be more of service by being in relationship, not doing everything on your own. But if you want to be behind the scenes and doing stuff, that would be good too. Sharpening up how you communicate in relationships so that we can be our most authentic expression. Libra, we aren't meant to be here alone. All right, we're meant to be here with others and collaborate with others. And I think that you would see benefit to that. There could be some closing out of subconscious patterns that you have in old belief systems. So make sure that we're not bringing any of those stories into these new relationships, okay? That I'm never going to find anybody, or this person is going to treat me terrible. I've always been cheated on, so now this person's going to cheat on me. No more of that, okay? All right, Libra, if you got something out of this, let me know in the comments below, and pass this along to a Libra of your choice if you got something out of it. And if you would like a more personalized reading, hit me up in the description box below. My information is there. Thanks so much. Happy new moon in Leo, Scorpio. You are having this in your 10th house of career. So there could be a lot of drama going on at work. Right? Unnecessary drama, because Leo is drama. And just know that some of this drama could be affecting your home life as well. So making sure that the home life drama isn't affecting the work life, and that the work life drama isn't affecting your home life. So just being balanced with that energy, and be the observer, not the engager. So if you see something happen in the home or at work, zip it, just watch and think about those things. You're good at doing that, and saying things at the right time. So let's make sure that we continue to do that. A good astrological remedy for you at this time to harness this energy is to be active in your body, or to be active in your routines, period. There could be some changes going on in your day-to-day routines, in your work habits. Maybe there's a new pet that came in. There's probably a revisiting of some of the routines surrounding that. Maybe walking of a pet or walking in nature would be good for you. Boxing would be good. Doing things that are fiery in action. How are your routines? Are your routines too fiery and you need to slow down? Or are your routines too mundane and there's nothing new going on? All right. Maybe putting some of these creative pursuits that you have could be helpful. Like, who do you want to be next? Or is there something that you want to do exercise wise, or maybe in your identity, and you want to add that to your routine? You got to make room for it. Okay. So don't get caught up in the drama at work and home. Okay. Save the drama for your mama, and let's try to put some of that energy in being creative in our routines, or being actionary in our routines. Maybe cleaning of the home, cleaning of our space, cleaning of ourselves. You control detox. Okay. So let's make sure that we aren't toxifying our bodies during this new moon. Okay. And Leo new moon. Scorpio, if you got something out of this, make sure that you like this video and share it with another Scorpio that you think could benefit. And if you would like a more personalized reading, hit me up in the description box below. My information is there. Happy new moon in Leo. Don't get caught up in the drama, Scorpio. All right, Sagittarius, you are having this new moon in Leo in your 9th house, and you rule the 9th house. Whoops, I got to go back a little bit. Told you I accidentally made this into an MP4 and not a slide deck. How that happened, I have no idea. I did it again. Mercury in retrograde loves to have fun with me And people think that that is hogwash, but it really is true because I can always count on having a 2-week prior Mercury in retrograde and a 2-week after. So anyway, you are having this Mercury retrograde and new moon, all this Leo energy in your 9th house, which is what you rule, Sagittarius, the 9th house of expansion. Okay, so some of this is going to be expanding. Some of these energies are going to be expanding. This will be a great time for you to be learning something new, or a great time for you to revisit something that you wanted to learn. Is there something that maybe you did a while back and you're like, I want to do that again? Or now you've had this thing clear out of your life and you're like, hey, I have room for it now. Okay. So this will be a good time for you to revisit things that you would like to learn, or polishing up those things that you have learned. When the sun is in the 9th house, this is mastery. Okay, so you could also be being a master of whatever subject it is and sharing that publicly, but maybe polishing it up behind the scenes because it's not perfect yet, or maybe letting that go because it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, you are getting a positive aspect from the 5th house of Leo, but where you have Aries, but where you have in the 5th house is Aries, you don't have Leo there. And so Aries is actionary. Aries is exercise and dance and warriorship. So a good way for you to kind of work with this energy is to be active, to dance. Sagittarius is higher mind. I have a friend that's a Sagittarius, and she has long legs, and she's highly creative. And you can come up with all kinds of dance choreography. I have another friend that's a Sagittarius, and she has long legs too. So her being active outside, she is being highlighted to do this. So if there is any type of tension going on between maybe learning something, or maybe something closing out in some of these younger relationships, because now you've evolved and you want to have some new energies and new experiences coming in, being actionary in your body could be a great way for you to kind of channel some of this energy and taking a break and not engaging in some of these astrological weather patterns that could be affecting the collective. Okay, so if you got something out of this, Sagittarius, let me know in the comments below. And if you would like a more personalized reading, hit me up in the description box below. My contact information is there. Happy new moon in Leo, Sagittarius. Live in your child. Live in your child. Okay. Leo is children, and Sagittarius is mutable, and it can be a lot of different things. So let's be mutable with that energy and not be stuck, and let's move it around in a fun and creative and light-hearted way. Thanks so much. All right, Capricorn, you are having this new moon in Leo in the 8th house of transformation. Dun, dun, dun. This doesn't always mean bad, okay? So Leo is opposing Pluto in your 2nd house of resources. So this would be a good time possibly for you to be at home, maybe doing some projects at home, being actionary around the home, cleaning up the home, organizing the home, exercising at home. You are having a lot of blessings in order to do that. So if some of these energies right now, about a lot has happened for you, Capricorn, over the last 15 years, and you are safe now. You are safe. But Pluto is checking in with you after it's gotten out of Capricorn sign. It's checking in with you to make sure that you've transformed all that you need to transform. And maybe there are some things that maybe you need to take a better look at. You know, are we self-aware, or are we self-unaware that we do certain things? Are we being stuck in our energy because we've gotten to this place and now it's like, okay, well, I can take a break? No, it's not time to take a break. It's time to be like, hey, this is your foundation that has been set. It's time to expand upon that. And you are safe to be who you want to be. And maybe some of these things that had closed out of your life, and these transformational, challenging experiences cause you to reevaluate what is it that you value. If you had a job close out, what do you value now? What is important to you now? And making sure that you are sticking with that about what is important to you now after this transformation. This could also be a good time for you to do some type of detox. And whatever that is to you, it can be a detox with a supplement, or maybe I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to detox my energies every night. I mean, I think that's a good idea to do personally, but some people don't take showers at night. They take showers in the morning, and it's up to you. Another thing that you could do, I think that maybe being out in the sun could help you kind of get some of this information that you need, and having your feet in the ground, because Taurus is the ground, and you've got Pluto there in the 2nd house, and Leo is in the 8th house of water. So maybe being around the ocean could be good for you. And if you feel like crying, cry. The moon is our emotions and letting things go. And if you are maybe in the process of moving, or maybe there was a relationship that just ended, I don't know, I'm hearing this for somebody, that it's how are we going to emotionally repair from that? Okay, maybe you need to emotionally repair from that by getting off of social media and looking at all these pictures of the past. Let's do something else. Let's create something new that we can look forward to, not something old that we're remembering. It's good to learn from the past, right? But we don't need to stay there, okay? Leo is wanting you to have fun with this transformational process. It would be a good time possibly to do inner child work. You know, maybe there's a gift that, or a new talent that you have now, or something that you want to do. Expand on that. Live in your gifts and talents. That would be a good remedy for this. And maybe even doing it outside, where you could hear some of the information in a different way versus being inside and being around the technology. We got to get off the phones, okay? And we got to get off the screens, and we got to be more out in nature. And there's so many outer planets that are in fire and air signs at this time. And everything in the outer planets has been in heavier signs, and earth and water signs. So now that the frequencies are a little bit lighter, we can have a little bit more fun with some of these transformational energies. It doesn't have to be, you know, I'm in a ball on the floor crying my eyes out. Yeah, that helps and that works, but let's have fun at the same process, okay? Let's, you know, make a magical art piece from that. Thank you so much, Capricorn. If you got something out of this, please like and share this video with another Capricorn that you think would benefit. And my information is in the description box below if you would like a more personalized reading. Thanks so much. All right, Aquarius, you are having this new moon in Leo in your 7th house of relationships. So there could be some relationships that are ending right now in your life, or there could be some opportunities for you to stand up in relationships. There is in the collective, all right, Pluto is in Scorpio. Pluto is in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So there could be a light shining on some of the things that we identified with, some of these relationships that we've had, some of this information being exposed, because you have a blue line, a trine going down to the 3rd house where Aries is. And Aries is about cutting and severing things in our mind, in our relationships with people, possibly. You have Neptune there, which is our subconscious, and you also have Saturn there, which is our stability and our foundation and the structure of. So what is the structure of your mindset? Are we looking at these relationships in an illusory type way? Because there could be some hard truths coming to the surface that you might need to deal with regarding that. If you have not been playing too much, right? And you've just been real heavy, right? Now would be a good time to play with others. Now would be a good time to have a play date with yourself. You know, what would it look like to have a play date with yourself? What would you do? Do you always feel like you got to be around people? All right. Let's use our Aquarian energy and detach from people and be in our creative expression with ourselves. If you are having tensions with a relationship, doing work around talking to somebody or sound therapy would help. Being out in the community with like-minded people could also help you to make you realize, like, hey, you're not alone, right? There's a million fish in the sea. Or who cares if that person doesn't like you anymore or doesn't want to collaborate with you, or maybe you guys had a falling out. Going out in the community would help. All right, I think that's all I got for you, Aquarius. And, you know, you have Pluto in your sign for the next 20 years. So some of these transits could be kind of heavy. And, you know, you're an air sign and Leo is a fire sign. So that's a lot of air and fire, a lot of action. So we need to slow down. All right. And let's maybe be outside in earth, or let's be in the water, or drinking more water, being grounded in our energy and thinking about things before we speak. So we don't have these blow ups in our relationships and then we can't take back what we said. Right. So just be watching of that. Reflect in. It's time to go into our mind. Why do I think the way that I do? Why do I like this person? Why do I feel like I need to have this relationship or this job? Okay. If you got something out of this, Aquarius, let me know. And my information is in the description box below if you would like to have a more personalized reading. Happy new moon in Aquarius. And one other thing before I let you guys go, this is kind of like a wrap up from the new moon that we had in your sign in January of this year, and also the full moon in February of this year. So there could be a revisiting of that. So think about themes that maybe were going on in January and February. It could be another revisit of that. Okay. So, or check in. Maybe you're good and you can check back and be like, man, I've come so far. Okay. The stories we tell ourselves. Have I come far or have I not come far? You control your destiny. You control your reality. And ages 1 to 7, that is where we are programmed to our subconscious behaviors. So it could be a good time for you to check in, like what has happened maybe between the ages of 1 and 7 that maybe you need to let go. All right. Maybe that controlled your mind a little bit and how you saw relationships. All right. That's all I got for you, Aquarius. Thanks so much. Oh, no. Of course. I know I have Pisces. There we go, Pisces. Mercury in retrograde always loves to have fun with me. Stop. There we go. I won't put this on an MP4 again. I don't know how it ended up like this, but nonetheless, here we are. So Pisces, you are having this new moon in Leo in your 6th house of health habits. So health habits do not have to be yucky. Okay. Health habits can be fun. Health habits can mean I need to just get moving. What does that mean to you? Get moving. You can move and walk. You can move in water. You can just move your body around. Don't just sit and watch television. Pisces is the screens, TVs. And if we are too fixed on this, okay, then that's not a good habit. What are we doing with our time? So this will be a good time for you to kind of do a reality check, Pisces. This is shining a big light. Pluto is having some tension points around your health habits. Let's make our health habits fun. Doing things that are maybe childlike in nature, or maybe there was a creative something that you wanted to do. What is this creative something? Hopefully this creative something could make you money. Maybe this creative thing is working with a child to make money. Or having conversations with people. So think about who do you want to be, Pisces? Pisces is behind the scenes, that which is not seen, spirituality. Maybe you can do some type of spiritual practice that includes Leo-like themes that are fun, that involve children. Or maybe some of these creative pursuits that you want to put into your routines can bring money into you. So this will be a good time to kind of think about, okay, what does my financial situation look like? And do I need to be looking at this a little bit more logically, okay? And not so much in an illusory type situation, like what are my most practical steps in order to do what I need to do next in my routines. There could be some changes in your routines coming up. And so with that, what do you want those routines to look like? If you are having the time to add time to your schedule, what do you want your routine to look like? And this routine needs to have something to do with fun, whether it's with children or with being making something creative to make money, or helping your children make money. Leo is hair, Leo is entertainment. Maybe if you are doing too much entertainment, then that is something that maybe we need to see. Are we being entertained too much, Pisces? But we need to step it back, and we need to have a rebirth of that. And how do we entertain ourselves? Are we watching television? Or are we entertaining ourselves doing something else? All right, that's more of the theme here. I think that's all I got for you. Yeah, and when these planets go back into your sign, Neptune and Saturn, when they go back in there, they're going to be there until January or February of next year. So it could be a time for you to clean up even more. You know, what are our subconscious behaviors? Why do I do the things that I do? Why have I not moved on with this thing? Or why am I not living from my heart and thinking that I can make money living from my heart? I feel like I can only make money doing this. Okay. So I know I gave you a lot to think about there. You know, take what resonates and leave what does not. If you got something out of this, Pisces, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below to see if this resonated with you personally. I would love to hear, and reach out to me in the description box below if you would like a more personalized reading. And we are wrapping it up. So just to remind you guys, I'm going to be at the Founders Day celebration at the Enchanted Kitchen. And I look forward to doing my astrology workshop there, talking about the eclipses and how they are affecting you most personally based upon your astrological sign. I'm also teaching some new age classes at Soul Good Yoga. So come check me out there. The monthly calendar does rotate. Whoops. Mercury retrograde. And check out Astro Mondays. That is going to be on my channel for a while. I guess until I get bored, but I'm feeling that I need to have a resurgence of this and give some type of theme for the week. Also check out my friend Deborah Robinson this coming Friday as we do a check-in with our Jupiter and Cancer series, talking to a Cancer during this transit. And if you would like an appointment with me, check me out at 9livesenergy@gmail.com. And my name is Chrissy Smith. This is 9 Lives Energy. And together we energize your body from the inside out. Thanks so much. Have a magical new moon in Leo.